Welcome back, everyone. Friar Tuck here. This is my epoch. Okay, so today I'm going to be covering two topics: not only getting gear, but stashing your gear as part of the complete urban survival gear, guide for homelessness. Okay, so it's this is the reason why I'm covering two topics in one is because there's really not a lot to be able to say about both of them. So let's talk about getting gear first. Okay, when you are homeless in an urban environment, there are a lot of different places that you can go, and it may take you some time to find it. So your best bet, if you have an opportunity to kind of choose the time in which you go out, because it's better when you choose the season versus somebody else choosing the season for you. So if you go out in like late spring, early summer, you will have enough time to be able to get all of the gear that you need. Now, certain times of the year, they give out certain types of gear. So during spring and summer, they're going to give out like spring and summer clothes, and spring and summer blankets and stuff like that. But they'll start giving out sleeping bags around the 1st of November when it starts getting really cold, or they'll start giving you alternatives to sleeping bags so that you can stay warm. And you're going to have to be able to find where these places are in advance. And so this is the reason why you need to spend a couple of months on the ground, getting to know the homeless community, talking to people, making friends, things like that, so that you can figure out where it is that you can get the necessary gear that you need, whether it be a sleeping bag, a backpack, or things like that. For me to get my first backpack, now I ended up giving it away to somebody that ended up needing the backpack when I got my Teton bag. But I saw somebody that had one of these, had a nice big hiking backpack. I asked him, hey, where did you get it? He told me where he got it. He wasn't supposed to tell me where he got it. But then I went and I found the person. I talked to him multiple times, and I'm like, hey, I could really use it. I'll take whatever you got. Because I had something specific in mind, but I ended up getting something that was really not that functional. I got something that's a lot more functional, since then. But that is something that you're going to have to get really good at doing, which is, finding the different places for the gear. Now, this is what makes being a home bum. These are the advantages that home bums have over traveling bums, because home bums, they know the area, they know what is available. As a traveling bum or a hobo, you kind of come in and you get what you can find surface level. You may spend a couple of days there, but you're not spending a long period of time there. Okay, so that is the big difference between home bums and traveling bums, is that the home bums are going to know where a lot of this stuff is. So that's why you need to make sure that you integrate yourself within the home bum community if you are going to do the urban living and you plan on, getting a job, starting a business, whatever it is, to get back up on your feet, whether it be SHTF or whether it be you going through a homeless experience. Okay, so going around and finding gear is important. You can find it. It is hard to find. It comes at certain times of the year, and so you just need to be there, prepared and early for everything, because you got to realize that there's going to be lines, and in those lines, they may get halfway through the line because there's such a heavy need and a limited supply that if you don't get there, think of it like camping out for a Garth Brooks concert when everybody would show up like a week early just to be the first ones in, or even like a Trump rally, same thing. Okay, you kind of got to do the same thing when it comes to getting gear if you want to be able to get decent gear. Now, what I will tell you is that you'll be better off going off and purchasing your own gear over time, but to start off with, this stuff is pretty good. The gear that they're going to give you is not going to be durable. It's not going to last very long. It's going to be cheap and flimsy because they got to buy quantity, not quality. Okay, because they have such a large amount of homeless people that they have to take care of, that they can't just go out there and get something that's made a little bit better because it costs a little bit of extra money, even though most of these are not-for-profits getting donations for tax write-offs. A lot of these companies don't go out and give good quality gear out to the homeless. They'll give it out in different programs, like to school kids or whatever. Okay, so that's that. Now that you've got your gear, you got too much gear and now you want to stash it, or you need to kind of go incognito and not really look homeless, and so therefore you need to stash it. There are multiple places around town where you can stash it, but you also need to be prepared that if you stash it, when you get back, it may not be there. It may not be there because somebody watched you, somebody was in your area looking for a place to stash, and they came across your stuff and decided to take it instead of stashing their stuff there. There's many different ways in which your stuff can come up missing if you decide to stash, whether you throw it in a bush and groundskeepers get it, or another homeless person gets it, or whatever happens. Okay, so you need to be prepared for that. But if you're going to find a stash spot, it's not something that you're going to want to do right offhand. You need to get to know the area, know the areas where the homeless go, because nobody's really paying attention to what's going on around them. Although the homeless pay more attention because we scavenge things off the ground. We're looking for things, but we're not really looking left and right. We're looking down and we're looking straight. Okay, for the average homeless person, because that's how you kind of find things on the ground as you go along. Because you're taking heavily trafficked routes when you travel within the city. Okay, now depending upon the city, you might be going through alleys and things like that. And again, if you're going to stash it behind a dumpster, be prepared for the dumpster guy to get it, think it's either trash or just take it for himself. Okay, you'll be lucky if it's still there. Now, when you do stash, it should not be for long periods of time. Okay, stashing for long periods of time, the longer you're away from your gear, the greater chance you have of your stuff coming up missing. So if you're doing it for an hour or two or something like that, that is good. Now, in more of a rural urban setting, like what I was dealing with down south, if you burrow yourself deep enough into a wooded area where people aren't really staying, because you're going to want to watch spots for several days, maybe a week, maybe kind of notice how traffic goes and just kind of stand off and be like, okay, I want to stash around here. So what is it that the average homeless person is looking at? Where are they looking at? Do any of them come over into this area? So on and so forth. And you just kind of sit there and you watch it for a period of time just to kind of understand what the traffic and what the risks are. Okay, and you do the same thing when finding wooded spots. That's kind of I kind of found my spots by happenstance, by luck. When I was in Shreveport, but when we were in Mississippi and New Orleans, we kind of had to keep moving around until we found an actual spot for us to call our spot long term. But we really weren't there that long. We were there for maybe a week and then gone. Okay, so just when finding spots, be prepared that it's going to take time. This is not something you can just be like, okay, I'm going to stash here. And if you stash with a group of people, now you better be able to trust those people. You cannot just trust people right off the bat. Okay, you need to be able to trust them lightly, trust them at surface level, but also understand that people have certain thresholds at which they'll go from being honest to being dishonest. It may be a slight discomfort to major discomfort to agonizing discomfort. It depends upon the content of the character, the individual that you're talking with. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at conglomerating with a group, whether you're camping in a group or anything else like that. Getting to know people and getting to know how much you can trust them, which I'll cover in another video. That is something that you really need to be thoughtful of if you stash in a group of people. But I've seen some people, I know where people's stash spots are, because they come by and either I see them getting it out or I see them putting it in the morning. But they know I'm trustworthy. They know I'm not going to steal their stuff. I've got enough of my own, and I don't even want all that. But people, when they're going to be a little bit more open, and so like in the bridge pillar, a metal bridge pillar, people are stashing their bags, their sleeping gear and stuff like that. Especially when it gets cold, you have to be able to have a lot of different blankets, maybe 3 blankets under you, 4 or 5 blankets on top of you, maybe a plastic tarp, things like that. And so all of that's got to get rolled up, and you're going to stash that somewhere, because you can't really carry that around with you all day unless you're going to be carrying a shopping cart or a cart or something like that. Even if you have good gear like I do, I'm starting to add gear just because it's getting cold and wet. So you don't want to have a lot of gear to stash, but you're going to be stashing, especially in colder climates. You're going to be stashing stashing your bedding, and so therefore you need to be looking for spots before it gets too cold, you know, and you got to be able to find these things. This is the benefits of coming out in late spring, early summer, is it gives you time to prepare for winter, which is going to be the hardest time for you. So anyways, guys, you know how to become a subscriber. Make sure you share the video. Everything else is down in the description. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.